were hoping to give new manager Dermot Keely a winning start. Tony Sheridan volleyed them into the lead, and a Tony McCarthy header made it 2-0. But two crucial lapses of concentration in the final 5 minutes allowed the Hoops to get back in the game. Jason Sherlock headed home the first, and Sean Murray, after rounding Alan Goff not once but twice, exposed the weakness in the Shell's defence. It ended 2-2. Liam Buckley's first game in charge of St Patrick's Athletics, 2 miles away in Talca Park, Shelbourne, still awaiting their first win of the season, created sufficient chances to wrap up the points. Tony Sheridan scoring his second of the season following Dean Fitzgerald's determined run. But the old failing of loss of concentration with the game in injury time again proved costly. Sligo won the ball in their own half, Tony McCarthy's back pass was short, and Harps Glenn Sheridan rounded Alan Goff to ensure a share of the points. 1-1 the score. The real story of the weekend, champions just 3 points behind. There's been a good start for Bray and for Finn Harps, but look at the mighty Shamrock Rovers, Shelbourne and Bohemians, struggling after 5 games.
So it's the match down to a single goal against Shelbourne. A great move and a stunning 20-yard drive from Owen Heary was the difference. Both sides missed penalties in the second half, but it was another dismal day for Derry at the office. The Irish Rugby Football Union has reacted.
Shelbourne were hoping to kick-start their league campaign today at home to champion St Pat's. A goal line clearance from a Tony McCarthy header denied the Reds an early lead as the home side started brightly. Midway through the first half, though, Shelbourne were reduced to 10 men, Captain Pat Scully giving his marching orders for a second bookable offence. The Saints grew in confidence, taking advantage of the extra man. Martin Russell denied by the upright. Just on the stroke of half-time, and Pats grabbed the lead. Ozam's square ball from a free gave Gormley the chance to float the ball into the danger zone. When the ball fell to Trevor Malloy, his finish was sure from the narrowest of angles. A tough tackling Dublin derby opened up considerably in the second half. A brilliant long ball from Dean Fitzgerald was latched onto by the predatory Stephen Gagan. However, his best effort was denied by Trevor Wood. Shelbourne threw everything forward at the finish in search of the elusive equaliser. From Owen Heary's cross, Pat Morley's header almost found the net, but the 10 men were denied, and Pats remained 3 points behind the early pace-setters Cork City. Shelbourne title hopes, though, have dimmed.
Well, Pats are the team to beat. I think at the moment they're the team to beat.
National League Premier Division, Dundalk met Shelbourne in Oriel Park, and the match finished Dundalk 1, Shelbourne 2. Well, next to motorsport, and today
match in the National League Premier Division between Cork City and Shelbourne. The game ended with Shelbourne reduced to 9 men and their bench demanding a replay because the referee didn't play any extra time for stoppages or injuries. Pat McAuliffe was at Turner's Cross.
Another all-ticket crowd flocked to Turner's Cross to see a repeat of last year's FAI Cup final. The near 6,000 attendants saw a dramatic afternoon's football. Visitors Shelbourne, with 3 changes to their starting 11, began well, going close with a great Pat Fenlon shot which flew off a post, and a Desi Baker effort which was well saved by Cork keeper Noel Mooney. But then Setty's all-time leading scorer John Caulfield hit his 114th league goal for the club just before half-time. Caulfield then turned provider, setting up big Noel Hartigan to put his side 2-0 up, before Shelbourne's English debutant Neil Treble scored for Shelbourne to make it 2-1. But then the drama really began when Watford referee Jim O'Neill sent off 2 Shelbourne players in the last 4 minutes. First to go was Tony McCarthy for an incident with Patsy Frayne, for which the Cork man was booked, and then Greg Costello for handball, which was his second bookable offence. And Shelbourne officials were incensed when O'Neill blew on 90 minutes, when the 4th official signalled there were 4 minutes left. However, Cork, without being at their best, go 3 points clear at the top of the table. Pat McAuliffe, RTE News, Cork.
How many red cards this weekend? I think I've lost count. Well, the rest of the National League results now for you, beginning with the Premier Division.
They were unbeaten in 5 games before last night's meeting with Shelbourne. Harps made a flying start, Eamon Kavanagh giving them the lead after just 8 minutes. But Shell struck back in spectacular fashion. Fenlon with the lob, Tony Sheridan volleyed home brilliantly. 12 minutes later, the home side restored their advantage. Jonathan Speake scoring from just inside the edge of the area. And before the first 45 minutes elapsed, they were 3-1 up. James Mulligan getting onto Declan Boyle's pass, beating Alan Goff and applying the coolest of finishes. Tony Sheridan scored his second of the game just after half-time when he placed his shot beyond Brian McKenna in the Finn Harps goal. But despite continued Shelbourne pressure, the Donegal side held out for another valuable 3 points to consolidate third position in the table. This afternoon, leaders Cork City faced Bohemians at Turner's Cross. There were no goals. Pat McAuliffe has the details.
27 points.
With Finn Harps next on 26. They're followed by Shamrock Rovers in 4th, while Derry City are in 5th. And UCD moved to within a point of Shells after their 1-0 win over Sligo last night. On to the First Division, and Cove Ramblers go 2 points clear.
Goals in both at Brandywell and Oriel Park. Well, it could have been much the same in Tolka Park, but for a goal in the 90th minute by Pat Fenlon. UCD outclassed Finn Harps with a 3-goal win at home. So, Cork City extend their lead to 2 points. Rovers gained a point. They are 2 behind Finn Harps. And Shelbourne and Derry City.
Foot of the Premier Division, and an improvement in form is urgently required, but it didn't come last night at a fog-bound showgrounds. They went behind to a Stephen Gagan goal after 20 minutes. 10 minutes into the second half, Sligo got back on level terms. Wesley Charles there with the cross, and Marcus Hallows beating Gough with the firm header. But Shelbourne regained the lead a short time later with a wonderful counter-attack. A sweeping move downfield begun by Greg Costello, and the ball eventually finding Gagan. He picked out the incoming Tony Sheridan, who finished off an excellent move. Well, Shelbourne secured the points in the 70th minute. Sheridan again involved, so too was substitute Richie Baker. He provided the cross for Pat Fenlon to score the third, and Shells move up to 5th in the Premier Division table.
And a check now on today's results. As we've seen, UCD won and beat Shelbourne.
So it's Tony McCarthy who concedes the free kick. Taken very quickly, Malloy's here, and it's pushed in and into the corner of the net.
You see Martin Russell picking up this ball, he looks up and Trevor Lloyd's just coming in. Here we are, he plays it here. And nobody's with him. Thank you very much.
It's with Paul Doolan. Scully spreading it to Desi Baker. Curling one in beautifully, and Wood's in trouble. It's over the line, and it counts. It's going to be Martin Russell who take it. Osama's there. Doolan back defending. Dramatic last minutes in this league. Oh, it's Osama, it's a lovely goal. And Pats are back in front again.
Cork's 3 points clear at the top, the leading sides each having played 19 games. Rovers are in 3rd place with a game in hand, but a long way off the big two. But then come Finn Harps, Shelbourne and UCD. And incidentally, Bohemians' win today moves them off the bottom, up 4 places. Well, across Channel, FA Cup.
Missing the last 3 games through suspension. Mark Kenny has been influential for them, playing from a position on the right side of midfield. He scored the opening goal last week for the penalty spot, and it was his corner that set up the second for Shamrock Rovers for Jason Sherlock. This is the Shamrock Rovers 11. They've had a good run at the moment. 7 league games undefeated. Their only recent reverse being the loss in the second leg of the League Cup final to Cork City in their last match of 1998. And that's the way they line up, with Colwell and Purdy anchoring the midfield behind Sherlock and Cousins, the 2 danger men up front. Paul Doolan has been on his travels through the National League this season. He began with Derry City, had a spell with Dundalk, and now he's back with Shelbourne and is in their midfield alongside Richie Baker, younger brother of Desi. Richie will be on his way to Middlesbrough this week for a trial. This is Shelbourne's 3rd match in 1999, and it's been the same starting 11 in each of them. Eamon Heary and Declan Gagan, the fullbacks. McCarthy and Scully, the captain, at the heart of the defence. And behind the 2 front men of Sheridan and Stephen Gagan, that midfield with the Baker brothers. One of 2 sets of brothers filling the flank positions. Taking charge of this match with a smile, John McDermott, Dublin referee. It'll just go to 90 minutes today. If necessary, there'll be a replay with extra time on Monday next week. So it's the Cup Kings of all time, 24 times the Cup winners, Shamrock Rovers, against Shelbourne, who are very much the Cup team of the 90s. And of course, although it's not only Shamrock Rovers' home fixture, both sides who share this ground can feel very much at home. Doolan early in and releasing Richie Baker. It's on for Sheridan. It's Palmer who's scampering back and got there first at the expense of a throw. Desi Baker. Oh, in went Fenlon. They failed to pick up the run of Fenlon. Now Cousins for Rovers, and it's out off Scully. Well, maybe it was only half a chance. Desi Baker spotted the run from Fenlon, but just couldn't get there ahead of Matt Britton. Kenny. Scully chased by Cousins, forced ahead clear, and it's a throw. Corner is the outcome. And here's Kenny's corner. And Goff makes the save. Counter-attack spearheaded by Desi Baker. Looking for his brother Richie in the middle, but it'll come to Tony Sheridan. Stephen Gagan in the middle. Back for Fenlon. Didn't quite get hold of it the way they wished, and that's a goal kick. And nearest to is Dermot Keeley, the Shelbourne manager. It's Cousins. Tracy. Nicely played. Tony Cousins once more, but it was a long way out to try that. Good build up by Shamrock Rovers, even if the finish lacked the penetration. Doolan, Palmer there ahead of Sheridan, then Tracy. Dunn. Cut out by Palmer. Dunn holding off Sheridan. Baker. And that's for Stephen Gagan. Through the middle goes Richie Baker. Gagan taking on Whelan. Still Gagan. And now Sheridan. Well, a good breakout by Shelbourne. Tony Sheridan's was the shot at the end of it. Stephen Gagan twisting Paul Whelan first one way, then the other. Whelan lost his footing to create the opening, and Sheridan was not very far away. Gagan did very well here. Really bamboozled Paul Whelan. He might have had a better opportunity to score himself. Won by Scully. Cleared by Baker. Kenny lost his footing. Cleared by McCarthy. Stephen Gagan, and referee felt he handled that. Whelan and Palmer up for this free kick to be taken by Mark Kenny. And in the end, all the way through to Goff. This is Heary. On for Sheridan. Gone straight to Sheridan, and now Stephen Gagan, slack defending by Rovers. Still Gagan, past Palmer, still Gagan. Back it goes to Sheridan. Still Sheridan now for Heary. Well closed down by Palmer. Heary shot off Sheridan. Gagan. The flag stayed down. Stephen Gagan gets the goal. Red crab defending by Shamrock Rovers. And despite the fact that they managed to close down in the first instance, they put themselves under pressure, and Stephen Gagan makes them pay. This was Gagan, and they managed to get bodies in the way, but eventually so intent were they to push out and close down that when it came off Sheridan to Gagan, and he was clearly onside, he finished superbly. Here it was much too close under his feet to have a shot on that occasion. He tried to make the room, it deflected off Sheridan, and there was Stephen Gagan to bury it past O'Dowd. Done once more. Heary. It's come free to Tracy. And now Sherlock. Cut out by Scully. Scully did well. Doolan came back to assist. Another corner is the outcome. Tracy at the near post. Palmer going in. Stopped by Doolan. A well-worked, well-rehearsed move. Near post flick on but the header from Palmer was less decisive than it might have been. Won by McCarthy, but straight at Purdy. And on then for Kenny. Cousins. Sherlock. Come to Cousins again. Better power in the shot. Well, Palmer's was the header from the corner that might have been better for Shamrock Rovers. Nice flick on by Tracy. Palmer got the freedom to head it, but it got stuck under the foot of Paul Doolan. Tony Cousins then finding himself with a shooting opportunity, but from rather a long way out. He got the power in it, broke free for that challenge to Scully and Sherlock, but the direction was not what he wanted. Purdy. Gagan again. Now Britton. Cousins. Put out by Gagan. And the throw reaches Colwell. Britton with the cross. Cleared by Scully. Well, the goalkeeper came, but Scully felt the safer course of action was to intervene himself immediately. Good cross. Scully wasn't going to take any chances. Kenny took it. And another opportunity for Shamrock Rovers to try and profit from a dead ball situation. It's Kenny to come and thump it. And it's off the post from Sherlock. So close. The deflection had the goalkeeper wrong-footed, but the post saved Shelbourne. Mark Kenny with a thundering free kick, deflected by Sherlock and off the post. Thumped the free kick with venom. Sherlock clipped it and it hit the post. Here's Purdy. Sheridan. Cousins. Tracy. And off to Sherlock, who's held off McCarthy. Good tackle by Heary. Prevented the corner. And a foul surely by Baker. Tommy Dunn brought down. A free kick for Shamrock Rovers. Baker's attempted tackle on Dunn. Floated in too close to Goff, but he's lost it. Wouldn't come for Tracy, cleared away by Heary. He's made a couple of important tackles, Eamon Heary. Mark Kenny curled this one in. The goalkeeper got it wrong. And just wouldn't come for Tracy because Heary was there. Tracy. Now Matt Britton. Looking for Sherlock, but Declan Gagan got there first. The ball is out. Oh well, that's the last kick of the first half. A half in which it's advantage Shelbourne. Stephen Gagan missed the early part of the season unfit, but now back to his scoring best and finishing off the Shelbourne attack that has put them in front, despite the fact that from Mark Kenny's free kick, Jason Sherlock deflected the ball onto the post. This was the goal. When it came free to Stephen Gagan, after good work on the edge of the box, Gagan was always likely to score from that position. Half-time at Talca Park, Shamrock Rovers 0, Shelbourne 1. Well, I suppose when you've two teams in your constituency and they both share the same ground, the place to be on a Sunday afternoon is when they come head-to-head in the Cup. Now, Taoiseach Bertie Ahern, a very keen follower of the National League game. Shamrock Rovers have made a change at the half-time interval. Jason Sherlock injured in that clash with Shelbourne goalkeeper Alan Goff at the end of the first half, so he's off, and Brendan Markey is on in his place. Came off the head of Fenlon, but now it's Cousins. Colwell. Tommy Dunn. On for Tracy. Dunn forward towards Markey. Held off by Scully. And kept in play by Heary. Gagan. And that's found its way towards Sheridan. Britton got there first. Doolan. Fenlon. And Declan Gagan. Doolan again. Slid through here for Stephen Gagan.
Get out, Tom! Get down, Tom!
Desi Baker. Declan Gagan's shot, too high. Baker again. Come to Doolan. Blocked by Purdy, and once more a corner to Shelbourne. Desi Baker once more, and again it's the head of Tracy to get it away. Back again by Fenlon. Tracy again. Fenlon once more, and it's come to Scully. Oh, yes. Well, what a finish by the centre half and captain. Superbly struck volley, buried beyond Tony O'Dowd, and Shelbourne really in the driving seat now. Baker took the corner. Fenlon and Tracy were both involved twice, and eventually it broke free, and Scully made no mistake. The Shamrock Rovers defence torn asunder, and Terry Palmer, in attempted to clear, only set it up for Scully. And Pat Scully, who got into double figures with the goals last season, gets his first of this campaign. And a very disconsolate McByrne, whose team lost third place in the league last week rather, and now looking at his season unravelling completely as Shamrock Rovers face a monumental struggle to get back into this tie. And there's another one. Pat Scully does it again. 2 goals in a minute. Well, it never rains but it pours, might be the Rovers' view. For Shelbourne, it's unalloyed delight. And this time, rather more orthodox. Headed home. The captain made his way in and met it firmly with his forehead, and it's 3. Markey. Now here's Fenlon. On for Desi Baker. High strike. Well, if you discount their recent reverse at St. Patrick's Athletic in our last live match, which they were unfortunate enough to lose, Shelbourne have been on the up, and that improvement in form confirmed by their performance this afternoon. Stephen Gagan in ahead of Tommy Dunn, and now Desi Baker. Headed clear by Dunn. It's come to Doolan. Too high, but it's broken free for Baker. Straight at O'Dowd. Well, it was aimed at Fennell. He couldn't get there, but the defensive header came straight to Baker. He picked the spot, though, well guarded by O'Dowd. Sheridan. It's Richie Baker, great run. There's no one there for him, but from Dunn's defensive header, it's come to Desi Baker. Tried to chip the keeper, and off the top of the bar. Superb effort from Desi Baker. It's a great run by his brother Richie to get into the corner. There was no one in the middle, but even so, under no pressure, Tommy Dunn set it up for Richie Baker. And with the keeper off his line, he went for the far corner and wasn't very far away. Morris Rowe. Scully putting it out. Baker. Sheridan in space. Stephen Gagan ahead of him, but in an offside position. It's still Sheridan. Tried to be too delicate. And O'Dowd was able to knock it clear. Did the sensible thing because Stephen Gagan was offside. Doolan with a crunching tackle. The ball is out of play. Well, Sheridan was terrific here, skipping past Palmer, ignoring the offside Gagan, but he tried to be too delicate. Well, a bad piece of defending by Paul Whelan, and it's 3 against 2 for Shelbourne. Whelan committed himself, Gagan rolling it in, and Tommy Dunn put it over the bar. But that was very, very poor from Shamrock Rovers. Whelan committing himself on the halfway line, leaving Shelbourne with a numerical advantage. Stephen Gagan had 2 in the middle here, but he managed to pick out the Shamrock Rovers defender. Fenlon will take the corner. The ominous figure of Pat Scully is up there. Can he make it a hat-trick? Not with a corner like that, he won't. Done to clear. Doolan intercepting, but putting it out. Cousins Industry has brought the corner. Morris Rowe to take. Goff there with a fist. It's come out to Jason Colwell. And a rare enough chance for Shamrock Rovers. Punch clear by Alan Goff, and the chairman's son, Jason Colwell, unable to keep it on the goal. For his father Joe, it must be a frustrating afternoon too. The knowledge that Shamrock Rovers now seem certain to be on their way out of this season's FAI Cup. Cousins. Britton. Chased by Markey. Challenge from Declan Gagan. Throw to Rovers. Scully the winner, but it's come to Dunn. Goal kick. Struck it well. Couldn't keep it down well enough, though. Cross flung in. Scully got up there to win the defensive header, but it broke to Tommy Dunn, and the snapshot, the half volley, well, it was always rising away. It's Whelan. Don, nice dummy. Take him away from Desi Baker. A decent looking cross, controlled by Cousins, and here's Colwell. Just wide. Well, that was the best attack that Shamrock Rovers have managed for quite a while, beginning with the left back Tommy Dunn, a good little dummy to rid himself of the presence of Desi Baker. Then the cross, chest control, excellent by Tony Cousins. Colwell's shot just spun wide of the post. Woods. Doolan, nicely played through for Stephen Gagan. Fenlon, well saved. Purdy. Tackled by Doolan. Free kick. At this stage, it's really only about a consolation for Shamrock Rovers. The writing has been on the wall since half-time. Now in capital letters, Rovers going out. Morris Rowe. And that's what they're reduced to, firing in from long range to no great effect. Foul by Doolan. Dunn. Woods. Markey and Colwell. Cousins. Trying to involve Britton. Billy Woods. A shot from Woods. Oh, the post again, and over the bar by Richie Purdy. Now Billy Woods, unfortunate. A shot from far out. And for the second time in the match, it's an upright that saves Shelbourne. And that is the last of the contest. And it's an historic afternoon. Pat Scully getting his first goals of the season. Shelbourne, the cup team of the 90s, go marching on. But what that defeat means, that Shamrock Rovers, the undisputed cup kings of Irish football, have won it a record 24 times and have won it in every single decade since its inception, will not now win the FAI Cup in the 90s. Rovers out, Shelbourne march on. Final score, Shamrock Rovers 0, Shelbourne 3. Well, Pat, 12 goals last season, but you saved the best until now. You hadn't scored before that left foot volley.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. I've been getting a bit of stick in the dressing room that I haven't scored this season, unfortunately. As I say, you got 12 last year, but I thought that was the best one I'll ever score in my life, I think. You're going to enjoy looking back at that, I'd say. I am. I'm sure my ma's at home now. We're getting ready with the video to tape it, so I'm looking forward to seeing it, yeah. Now, it was a corner kick. The ball went in and out, and then suddenly there you were. Yeah, it seemed to be a bit of a bobble. I just bobbled up into the air, and I took a chance and struck with my left foot, which isn't my best one anyway, and it just flew into the top corner. It was probably the best goal I'll ever score, I'm sure. Well then, within a minute, you didn't give us much time to get ready for the next one, which was rather more orthodox for a centre-half. Yeah, that's more like me. Get it in the box and I'll head it. Yeah, it was good. I mean, obviously the second goal kind of killed the game, but then getting the third one so quickly, I think it kind of knocked Rovers out of step then, and we could just see out the game then. It was important that we went through. Yes, because you're off the pace in the league, and it does now look really, honestly, as if it's Cork or Pats. So Shelbourne, to get a trophy this season, really have to go for this. Yeah, I mean, we didn't start very well in the league, and we've left ourselves an awful lot to do. So, as I say, the league's probably well beyond us, but I just say we're usually quite good in the FA Cup, so hopefully this year it'll be another year for us. It's funny, isn't it? Shamrock Rovers, 24 times the cup winners. They'd won it in every single decade, but they won't win it in the 90s. That's the Shelbourne's decade. Well, we mentioned that in the dressing room before the game, so that was a good sport on for us. So we're delighted we're through, and we're kind of delighted that we broke that little sequence. And despite everything about Shelbourne, you've only the one medal, you were saying? Yeah, well, the first year I came home, we won the FAI Cup, and I was looking forward, after last year coming so close to the three things, we want to do a lot better this year, but we're still in the FA Cup, and hopefully win it this year, then we can go on to better things next year.
Yes, so Shelbourne through to the next round of the Cup, and we'll find out who they'll meet next when we see the draw for the second round in part 2 of the programme. Well, it's time for a break, but we'll be back with that draw and a
Yes, round 2 of the Harp Lager is there. Drogheda United on Galway against home farm Everton. Bray Wanderers at home to Cherry Orchard. Sligo Rovers have home venue against either Cove or Garda. Derry City against either Limerick or Dundalk. And that last one there that I mentioned, Cork City, the holders, against either Finn Harps or Belgrove. And as Bernard said, all those draws to be made on the weekend of February 7th, a month's time.
Where Cork City played Shelbourne this afternoon. Turned over by St Pat's last week, Dave Barry's side had fallen 5 points behind by Friday evening after the champions hit 3 of the best at Richmond Park. Their opener came after 25 minutes, Trevor Malloy teeing it up for Russell, who struck his shot beautifully into the top corner to put them 1 up. 7 minutes later, the Saints went 2 goals up. Colin Hawkins with the looping header over O'Dowd in the Rovers' goal. And 10 minutes into the second half, St Pat's secured the points and top spot in the Premier Division, courtesy of that Eddie Gormley free kick. So no doubt then in Cork minds as to what was required at Talca Park this afternoon. Let's see how it went with our match commentator, George Hamilton.
The headline from Talca Park is that the Shelbourne number 10 shirt is filled by this man, Liam Kelly. Yes, Stephen Gagan has been dropped after a series of performances that have been below the high level that he's achieved in the past. Greg Costello too has re-established himself in the Shelbourne team. He'll play at right back. And this is the way the side will line out. 3 league defeats in a row have dropped them down to 6th position. Shelbourne with a 4-4-2 formation attempting to get back to winning ways. They're only to win in their last 4, the defeat of Shamrock Rovers in the FAI Cup. Pat Morley began the season as a Shelbourne player. In fact, he scored one of the goals in their memorable 3-3 UEFA Cup draw against Glasgow Rangers at Tranmere Rovers ground. But now very much a Cork City player and 2 goals in his last 2 games. Morley leads the Cork attack in an unchanged team from the one that went down to only its 3rd league defeat of the season to St Patrick's Athletic last Saturday. Patsy Frayne, whose father died in midweek, has made himself available, so Dave Barry is able to name the same 11 that started against Pats. Today's referee, the army man from Athlone, John Stacey. And it's Cork City who get us away. Shelbourne, who haven't beaten Cork in their last 4 meetings, and if you include the Super Cup, which was the pre-season tournament, make that 5. Yes, you've got to go back to the 3rd of October 1997 to find the last Shell's victory over Cork, and in that match both Derek Collin and Declan Daly for Cork were sent off. Here's Paul Dougal. Sheridan, Fenlon, and Declan Gagan with the early ball in. Mooney underneath it and taking it cleanly under pressure from Kelly. And that's swiftly bowled to Ollie Cahill. Forward for Patsy Frayne. Caulfield beaten to it by Greg Costello. Stephen Gagan and Desi Baker, who at the start of the season would have considered themselves automatic choices for Shelbourne. Then Cronin. Caulfield chasing against McCarthy, who won it, and Scully helping it on its way. Onto it, Patsy Frayne. Good first touch and picking out O'Brien. Daly free inside. He's gone instead for Kelvin Flanagan. And switched the play well to Cronin. Nice football by Cork. A beautiful ball here for Cahill. Cahill looking for Caulfield. Again, just that little bit too close to Alan Goff. But good flowing football from Cork City. That was Flanagan picking out Cronin, and another first touch on for Cahill. The cross just left a little to be desired. Now it's Fenlon. But persistence from Frayne releases Cahill. Fenlon sliding in, Cahill still on it, and Fenlon and Doolan together bringing the ball clear. And then Frayne challenges, it comes off Doolan, and it's a throw to Cork. Daly. Clearance by Scully. It's Dave Hill. Frayne. Van Hill injured himself as he fell there. It's Colin O'Brien. Curling one towards Caulfield. Oh, keeper's missed it. O'Brien gets the goal. Was he deceived by the run of Caulfield, or did he just make a fundamental error? The net result is that Colin O'Brien's cross delivers Cork City's first goal after just 4 minutes of this. And the team who surrendered top spot last weekend to Pats and who can't afford a slip up here have got into an early lead. It was meant as a cross for Caulfield. He floated it superbly. Caulfield Rose missed it, and the bounce of the ball appeared to deceive Alan Goff. And are Shelbourne paying the price for too many matches on their Talca Park pitch? Well, certainly the pitch had its part to play, but Colin O'Brien, with a superb cross that Caulfield just missed, won't argue with this. Shelbourne 0, Cork City 1. Dave Barry insisting to his men that they must not feel sorry for themselves having been beaten last week. They've got to get back and do the job here. Flanagan. Declan Gagan with the free kick, aimed at Scully, who'd gone forward. Now it's Doolan. And still Doolan. And Sheridan. Oh, yes! Well, that's how to respond to the concession of an early goal, fashioned by Paul Doolan's persistence, and Tony Sheridan rifling it in with his left foot, giving Mooney no chance. There are only 9 minutes on the clock, and it's one apiece. Determination here from the old stager. Doolan driving on, setting up Sheridan, and a flashing shot beyond Mooney. Frayne and Colin getting mixed up together. Fenlon was in there too. It was Sheridan who finished it off. Well, he would have been happy about the way his team led in the first goal, but he'll be happier now that they're level. Kelly straight at Frayne. Now Cronin. Cut out by Costello. It's Fenlon. And rebounding from Morley, and it's come to Caulfield. Johnny Caulfield brought down penalty. No question or doubt about that. Johnny Caulfield brought down by Pat Scully. And Cork have a penalty. John Stacey had absolutely no option whatsoever. Well, it was Pat Fenlon's hesitancy that led to that concession of the penalty. He waited much too long, allowed Morley to come and close him down. There was the rebound that broke kindly for Caulfield, and Scully was caught, and the trailing leg brought the Cork man down. So it's a penalty to come, to be taken by Kelvin Flanagan. And despite Goff's best efforts, Cork go back in front. Kelvin Flanagan gets the goal that restores Cork's lead after 17 minutes. Successful from the spot for the 6th time this season. Doolan got in first, then it's Sheridan. Lovely touches by him, but that was a good tackle by Colin. Costello making it his. Kelly. Frayne there to take it away from him. Well, that sold Cronin a little short. Kelly. Now Heary. Well saved by Mooney. Important that, because there were 2 red shirts in the middle. He couldn't hold it, but he made sure he put it where there was no Shelbourne player. Now Cronin. On for Morley and Cahill. Out right, Caulfield. Morley through the middle. Caulfield hoisted to him. Wonderful counter-attack by Cork City. Pat Morley in the right place, but just couldn't direct the header onto the goal. Great breakout by Cork City. Caulfield knew where Morley would be. Morley went diving in, but the header was just off target. But prior to that, immediately prior to that, what a fine save by Noel Mooney in the Cork goal. Kelly sending Heary away. He found his way into the corner, pulled it back, 2 Shelbourne men in the middle, and Mooney had to direct it away from them both. Frayne wide for Cronin, it's out off Sheridan. Here's Costello. Mooney thought about coming, went back to the goal, and McCarthy Had he managed to direct that towards the target, might well have beaten the keeper. He does have a bit of a tendency to be reluctant to leave his line, Noel Mooney, and here he got a bit caught in no man's land, but McCarthy's header was wide. The winner there was Baker. Flanagan. And there's the final whistle of the first half. A half that began with a flurry of activity. Most notably Colin O'Brien's cross that turned into the opening goal after 4 minutes. But that was cancelled out by a superb shot from Tony Sheridan just 5 minutes later. And then came the penalty incident. Pat Fenlon slow with a clearance, a rebound from Morley. In went Caulfield, brought down by Scully, and Kelvin Flanagan converted to leave Cork in front at the break by 2-1. Same personnel for the start of the second half, and Shelbourne with a game to retrieve. Dave Hill in the way, now it's Paul Doolan. And that goalmouth really is in a desperate state. But this time Noel Mooney under no pressure. There's McCarthy. And Gagan again. Stewart. Gagan. Baker in chase, but the ball crosses the touchline. Doolan. Sheridan chase, the deftest of touches by Hill, and Cronin in trouble with the pitch again. Presented it to Heary. Cahill challenging, and referee John Stacey says that's a foul by Ollie Cahill. Tony McCarthy and Pat Scully, the two centre halves, forward to threaten Noel Mooney's goal. The free kick comes from Costello. Caulfield heading away. It's come out to Heary. Fair old shot. Johnny Caulfield took it to the solar plexus, but he's fine. Saw it coming. Fenlon. In goes McCarthy, and that's gone behind. And it broke free to Heary, and he fairly dumped it, but it went straight at Caulfield. Cronin. Flanagan. Cahill back for Cronin. Flip forward for Dobbs, policed by Scully. It's Cahill again, and he's found Kelvin Flanagan, and he too has found Morley, and there's number 3. A superlative goal by Cork City. Wonderful football to set it up, and Pat Morley there to claim another goal. His third in 3 games, superbly finished. But what a terrific build-up. Ollie Cahill back to Gareth Cronin, steadied himself, picked out Dobbs, who found Cahill again, then threaded through for Flanagan. Nice turn by him, picked out Morley, pulled away from his man, and across the bows of Alan Goff. That was a terrific goal by Cork City. Pat Morley, 1 for Shelbourne at the start of the season, and 1 against them now. Quarter of an hour of the second half gone. Great goal. Stephen Gagan. And it's come to Cronin. A chance for the left back to run a bit. And then for Dobbs. Cahill goes outside. Dobbs towards Morley. Cleared by McCarthy. Flanagan. And wide. And again, Dobbs involved in this, aimed for Morley. McCarthy got it clear, but Flanagan was pouncing at the edge of the box, though the shot wasn't great. Crane back for Cahill, and Cronin joins the attack. Left by Crane. Flanagan on for Cahill. Oh, nicely played by Ollie Cahill. Still it's Cahill, brought down, and the referee says no foul this time. Desi Baker tackled him from behind. The referee right there to see it and deciding it wasn't a penalty. Costello on for Desi Baker. Back then for Sheridan. Off for Scully, it was meant to be, but instead it's Flanagan who comes away with it. And it's 3-on-3 here as Scully scampers back. That's for Morley. Closing now is McCarthy, still Pat Morley. Can he finish? Oh, Goff made the save. It's run for the corner. But another terrific breakout by Cork. Flanagan picked out Morley and he stepped inside the challenge of McCarthy. Straight at Goff though. Corner to Cork City. Taken by Flanagan. Dobbs header, goal kick. Oh, Dave Barry and Liam Murphy to the right there. The two once distinguished players, now distinguished management team, and they've got Cork back on the rails after that setback last week against Pats. Dobbs. Nicely on for O'Brien. Morley's in the middle, so too is Cahill. And O'Brien pulled it in behind Morley, cleared away by Desi Baker. That was a waste. But the clearance only sets it up again for Cork. Possession now with Cronin. Train. Cronin on for Flanagan. Cahill. And Hill for Morley, who stayed on side. Back for Dobbs. Wonderful football from Cork City once more, with Gerald Dobbs on the end of it, who couldn't convert it. But a super ball. Hill for Morley, and Morley timed the run to perfection. The Shelbourne defence torn apart. He picked out Dobbs, but the shot was too wide. Past the challenge of Flanagan. Cahill in the way. Hill, it's come free. Gagan. Sheridan 2. Back then for Fitzgerald. Scully goes up. Daly got it away. Shelbourne trying to mount a bit of a rally. Sheridan for Costello. Sheridan. And that came off the head of Flanagan, and it's Desi Baker. And it's 3-2. Pat Fenlon. Significant that Desi Baker, the substitute, was involved in that. The cross found the unmarked Fenlon, and his deft little header beat Noel Mooney. Baker omitted from the starting line of the past couple of matches, on as a sub to supply Fenlon. And for Pat Fenlon, it's goal number 8 of the season. Nobody marking him. For once, Cork's defence had lost its concentration and its shape. Herrick lost his footing, but still managed to get the ball. Now it's Flanagan. On for O'Brien. Take on Gagan. And the offside flag goes up against Ollie Cahill. Free kick from Costello. Now Sheridan. Shelbourne strive for the point. The cross from Gagan. And Scully! Never say die from Shelbourne. And their captain, Pat Scully, gets up to score the goal. He got a dozen last season. All he's got for this, the couple against Shamrock Rovers in the Cup. But when times are tough for Shells, Scully goes forward to centre forward. It was Stephen Gagan with the cross. Perfect it was. And Scully found the net. Final minute of normal time. And Gagan's cross picks out Scully, and Shelbourne, in the most unlikely circumstances, are level. And that's a goal that will mean much to Shelbourne. In went Cow. In again goes Richie Baker. Baker on. And there's no offside. There is an offside against Stephen Geoghegan. For one moment it appeared he'd got away with it. One more chance for Cork City. That's a close call. And the final whistle sounds, and it's Shelbourne who celebrate. And Dave Barry can fashion a smile for the predicament that he would understand Dermot Keely to be in. But Keely has put an end to a run of 3 defeats in a row. For Dave Barry, well, his team outplayed Shelbourne, but Pat Scully's towering header in the final minute of normal time consigned this match to a share of the spoils, and Dave Barry's Cork City have now dropped 5 points out of the last 6 and find themselves 4 behind the leaders, St. Patrick's Athletic. A result that will be greeted with much delight in Inchicore. It's Shelbourne 3, Cork City 3.
Overall tonight I was very pleased with the attitude of the lads. You know, played some exceptional football at times, and you know, it was just one of those things. We lost our concentration for the last 10 minutes.
Well, now, the positive side is you did get a point out of it when you could have thrown the whole thing away, and you did play so well.
That's right. I think as a manager, all I can do is for the lads to you know, go out and give 100%. I think if I came up here and got a draw and didn't play well, and a lot of players were, you know, didn't play up to their full potential, but I think really to a man, we played exceptionally well at times, and you know, deserved to go 3-1 up. But you know, Shells, fair dues to them, they threw bodies forward in the last couple of minutes, and you know, unfortunately they stuck to win the equaliser.
You started with 2 familiar faces on the bench, you'd Stephen Geoghegan and Desi Baker, and yet they were both on the pitch when you saved the match.
Yeah, but I don't. Are you saying which team selection is wrong?
I wouldn't dream of it, but I'm just wondering.
No, we forgot a lot of players wide. Ollie Cowell was a bit of a worry to me, and Owen is very quick and he's a natural offender, so I thought, you know, that if we played him out there he would keep him quiet, and I thought Owen did really well. We didn't see much of Ollie, and Owen had a couple of chances, but then when you go to 3-1 down, you know, it's time to have a go. Again, Liam Kelly has been sick and hasn't got games, so you're trying to get him in for a match, and now is all he could do. I mean, that's as much as he can do. And Stephen come on as well. Stephen again has been sick and is struggling to get back to full fitness, and you know, I don't know how long that's going to be. It might be next year. So again, you're just trying to rest him up and keep him fresh. There's no kind of mystery about it.
Well, you slipped to 6 before this game. You have a cup tie against Bows on Friday night. Is that in any sense a respite, or is that another kind of pressure?
No, I think in Shelbourne everything is a pressure. You know, there's nothing you can do about this. The cup has a huge significance for us now. I mean, there's no point in beating about the bush. That's a fact of life. 6th or 5th in the league here is not going to be. It's not going to be good enough. Big club like this, it's probably not acceptable, and you know, I go along with that. So next week's match becomes, you know, very, very important. So the pressure doesn't ease, not at all. It's even greater next week.
Yes, a lot expected of managers at Talca Park, but Dermot Keely's been long enough in the game to know how to handle pressure. And full credit to the players this afternoon, producing a 6-goal thriller on what was a simply appalling surface.
Shelbourne haven't beaten UCD in their 2 previous meetings this season, so the Reds went to Belfield today determined to put the record straight. The only goal of the game came after 34 minutes. Desi Baker released Owen Heary down the right wing. Heary crossed, Stephen Geoghegan dummied, Tony Sheridan finished. So 3 points for Shelbourne. But who would take the points down at Turner's Cross between Cork and Derry? Let's find out now with George Hamilton.
Of the FAI Cup by Shelbourne. Stephen Geoghegan with the opener for the Dublin club. And they sealed victory in the second half with a controversial second. Keeper Platt appeared to be fouled, but the goal stood, and Derry, they were out. Well, after the defeat against England, Ireland
Boy for Galway United, a single goal enough. At the showgrounds on Saturday, Bray took the early upper hand, but Sligo's Marcus Hallows saved the night. Buckley Park witnessed another dramatic draw between Kilkenny and Finn Harps, James Mulligan putting the Donegal men ahead before Davy Walsh equalised. Jonathan Speake put Harps in winning mood until Brendan Ray saved Bray. And in Derry yesterday, Shelbourne made themselves cup favourites, beating Derry with 2 Stephen Geoghegan goals. And before we present the
Dundalk and Derry City.
Oh, delight for Derry. Dundalk, though, edging closer to the drop zone with only 2 home games left. It could be a nail-biting run-in for them. Shelbourne have been on something of a roll of late. They hadn't conceded a goal in 6 games before Friday night's meeting with Sligo Rovers. Not a very surprising statistic when you consider the form of Alan Goff. A great shot there from Conor O'Grady, but Goff denying him brilliantly with an acrobatic save. The only goal of the game was one of the few quality moments in a poor match. Tony Sheridan with the killer pass, Owen Heary applying the finishing touch. Shells now firmly in 3rd spot, 4 points ahead of Finn Harps.
Area with Brian Kerr's under-20 team, and here's a chance, and it wasn't too far away for Tony Sheridan. A reasonable goal chance, an excellent cross, he climbed well.
There's Pat Devlin there, just talking to him before the game, and of course Pat's thoughts about this game is that he feels that Bray have bridged the gap.
Nobody wants to give away anything cheaply in this cup semi-final. Who can blame them? Baker, and Geoghegan got ahead to it, but straight at John Walsh. It was a lovely chance for Shells to have taken the lead 5 minutes before half-time. There's a hand there, surely. Desi Baker was showing us the hand of you-know-what. Goff coming, didn't make it, and it's finished in the back of the net. And Bray have gone in front. Just before half-time.
Well, you see a needless free kick conceded, and here it is. It's a disaster for Alan Goff. He comes to get a punch on it, doesn't, just drops down for Mick Doohan, and what a gift. Open goal for Mick Doohan to hook it in, and he does that well.
Once again, Bray Wanderers show us just how threatening they can be, even though the raids have been pretty sporadic. Sheridan, clever back heel for Baker. Good delivery, and there was a glorious chance. Fitzgerald was there, here he's there as well, and the chance has gone. Final opportunity falling to the right boot of Owen Heary.
Well, we see Desi Baker here. Look at, there was a great cross there, but you feel that maybe Dean Fitzgerald might have thrown his head at that. He was crying out, perhaps.
Everybody back bar Stephen Fox at this stage for Bray, and still Sheridan tries to make some progress, not making sufficient inroads just yet, and Geoghegan was going down, but going down to challenge the Shells rearguard is Stephen Fox, and that's a beauty, and that's a second, and it's Colm Tresson, and it's Bray who lead by 2 goals to 0, and only 5 minutes of the second half gone. What a start to the second half for Bray Wanderers, cup winners back in 1990. It's Shells 0, Bray Wanderers 2.
Well, you know, it's a great break. It was Shells are putting huge pressure on there. You see, it's Barry Connor comes in here, and it's Stephen Fox just good. It's a brilliant finish. He takes a gamble there that the Shells defender is going to miss it.
Well, now what do you do if you're the Shells boss at this stage? Switch of direction. Carried in towards Baker. Lovely ball returned there beautifully, and here's the chance. And the goalkeeper does remarkably well. John Walsh, what a wonderful stop. Keeping his side just comfortably ahead here, but that was a good chance. McDonough. Here's Stephen Geoghegan. Looking for a late goal, and there's one back by Pat Scully, but it's in injury time. It's come very, very late.
It's a great finish. It's Stephen Geoghegan here. Stephen has done well here today, but that's a great cross. A great finish by Pat Scully.
It's the final whistle, and Bray Wanderers are in the cup final, second time in the 90s that Pat Devlin has led them to the final hurdle, where they will play either Finn Harps or Galway United.
Yes, it really was a wonderful evening for the Bray Wanderers supporters and indeed the team at Talca.
Their fans today probably thought their league title chance had gone.
and Shell certainly weren't going to do the Leesiders any favours, Desi Baker coming close, only to be denied by Mooney. A nervous Cork knew a win was vital to maintain the pressure on St. Pat's. Morley came close with this header, but it was the second half before they began to gain control of this game. And when Gerald Dobbs laid the ball into the path of substitute Colin O'Brien, he made no mistake. Suddenly, Cork City had another League Championship lifeline, much to the relief of the Shed. Shelbourne, though, drew level within 7 minutes when Pat Scully got on the end of a Dave Campbell free kick. Was this the end of the line for Dave Barry's men? The answer is not yet. Cork's other substitutes, John Glynn and John Caulfield, were both involved in the build-up, and when Caulfield's shot came back off the post, Pat Morley was on hand to put the ball in the back of the net and the league title race right down to the wire.
And now to matters at the other end of the table and today's crucial meeting between...
We didn't show you, that was the match between Derry City and Finn Harps. Derry beating Harps by 1-0. So this is how it stands now in the Premier Division. St. Pat's very much in the driving seat with a 3-point advantage over Cork City and just 1 game remaining. It's as you were for Shells and Finn Harps, who both lost today, but Shelbourne looking good for 3rd spot and European football next season. Meanwhile, at the bottom, Dundalk, as you know, are already relegated, but who'll be going down with them? FAI Cup finalists Bray look the likely candidates now. They're 2 points behind Sligo, who have that game in hand. It's not all over in the lower half of the table just yet.